The Washington Redskins have not won a regular season football game since November 3rd of last season. That's 9 straight. Redskins Nation is hoping that this dubious streak will end today against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Welcome in to Game Time Live, presented by Verizon. I am your host, Lou Holder, and we will give you the coverage that no one gives you before a Washington Redskins football game, and hoping that the Washington Redskins will come away with a win against the Jacksonville Jaguars. We have a host of guests coming in to talk about this game and about the Redskins as a whole. I'm bringing in right now one of my special friends in the business. He's a man among men. His name is Tariq El-Bashir from Comcast Sportsnet, dropping in the #1 spot today on the Redskins' first home game of the season. And Tariq, been listening to stuff all week that you've been saying on Comcast Sportsnet about, the team. And I first have to ask you, offensively, 6 points in a football game from this Jay Gruden offense.
Right.
Alarming to you, or just a new coach trying to get his legs together? What do you make of that?
I would say slightly alarming, not overly alarming, but yeah, 6 points for a team that has this much talent. And when you looked at the play calling, it's early in the year to already start calling out the play calling, but, Gruden himself admitted that he wished he had run the football a little bit more. Whenever you see Alfred Morris, a guy who has almost 3,000 yards in his first 2 years, only get 14 touches, you're like, wow, okay, what's going on there? Gruden said he's going to correct that this week. And the other thing is, you're paying Deshaun Jackson $8 million. You're not paying him $8 million to average 7.8 yards per catch. I think they're going to take more shots down the field today against the Jaguars. The Jaguars played more of a man-to-man. They're a little more aggressive. If you remember, the Texans played very passive. They were off the line of scrimmage, about 8 yards deep. They were willing to concede the underneath stuff in an effort to stop the over-the-top stuff. I think you're going to see a chance for Deshaun Jackson to get some separation this week. The question is, can Robert get him the football? Because if he can, there might be some big plays.
As we pull out of the way, as we do on the show, pull out the way so we can get some of the action. I also want to ask you about, the defense. Now, we've all known about Bakari Rambo and his struggles back there, but it's who they have right now.
It is what they have right now, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if Duke Iheanacho gets into the lineup today. Here's a guy who was claimed off waivers about 2 weeks ago. Yeah. It takes guys a little bit of time, especially the safety position. It's a very, very intricate, difficult position to play, especially when you're stepping into a new role, a new system. I think you're going to see him play a decent amount today because you know what? We know what Rambo's about. He can't tackle in the open field, and he got burned.
Right. Defensive line, no Cofield, no Kedrick Golston. Yeah. You said, I think the word you used was razor thin on that defensive line.
Very thin. They're going to have 5 defensive linemen up today. And, that kind of hurts Jim Haslett because Jim Haslett likes to rotate his guys in and out to keep them fresh. At the end of the day, on a perfect day, everyone plays about the same number of snaps. I would say 35 to 40 snaps. He's not going to be able to do that today because you're going to have 2 relatively inexperienced players in Frank Curson, Clifton Geathers in there. They're not rookies, but they're backups for a reason. So they're not going to be out there as much as, let's say, a Jarvis Jenkins. So you're definitely going to have some tired D-line out there.
Game Time Live presented by Verizon. We just saw Niles Paul walk through our view. Bad break for him. Yeah. But then again, here's going to the tight end position. Jordan Reed is not reliable, so it seems. So you have Logan Paulson and you have Niles Paul in there. Are you happy with that, or do you think that is now a weapon that Robert Griffin III probably won't use anymore?
It's getting very hard to trust Jordan Reed at this point because he has missed so much time. We went back and we looked up how many times he's been injured since being drafted in the 3rd round in 2013. It's been 8 different things. One was the flu, so I'm not really going to hold that against him. Everyone gets sick. But 8 times he has missed practice or a game because of an injury. That's an awful lot for a player who's only in his 2nd year. And, he really is a security blanket for Robert Griffin III, or he has been a security blanket, I should say. When RG3 gets in trouble, he looks for him as an outlet valve. If he's not in there a lot, I think you're going to see Griffin start shifting away from him, maybe looking for a Roy Halou or someone else to be his check-down guy.
Right. Last question before I let you go, because I know you're extremely, extremely busy. But we know about the bad part of the special teams, but I want to focus on the good part of the special teams, and that's Andre Roberts. Yeah. This guy came in knowing or thought he was going to be the number 2 receiver. The thing came in with Deshaun Jackson, but he is doing what Brian Mitchell and all special teamers all over this league are very, very happy about. That's taking the role, and he is now giving this team a weapon of field position.
That's exactly right. I mean, he was very impressive last week down there in Houston. That he had that 25-yard punt return. He was going for an even longer return when he ran into Darrell Young along the sideline there. But more importantly, what I really liked from Andre Roberts was his decision-making. He knew when to field punts. He knew when to let them bounce into the end zone for a touchback. That's something that they lacked last year. There were a lot of guys, whether it was Chris Thompson or Nick Williams, who were fielding balls when they shouldn't have been fielding balls, and it was really stymieing the Redskins. It was having them start drives, deep in their own end. Roberts brings a level of experience that the team has not had there. He knows when to take his shots and when not to.
Tarek El-Bashir, thanks for coming on. Thanks for being part of the Game Time Live presented by Verizon family, man. Hope to have you on many more times this season.
Sweet Lou. Thanks, man.
All right. That's my man, Tarek El-Bashir. Hey, Redskins fans, on Tuesday, the 16th, from noon to 1 p.m., Ryan Kerrigan will be debuting his new Harris Teeter signature sandwich, the Chicken Blitz on Rye, at the Rustin Harris Teeter. Stop by to meet him and try out his new sandwich creation. All right, Tarek El-Bashir is out. Now we have Doc Walker coming in here. Larry Michael, can you step in here as well? I mean, I might as well do it big if I'm going to do it at all.
Well,
so I mean,
you got the boss.
Well,
here.
yeah, the boss
That's
is here. The boss is here,
Absolutely.
but Doc is also here. I was just talking to Tarek El-Bashir about obviously the 3 phases that you guys saw down in Houston, and the first thing that he basically said was that there's 6 points that they put together in Houston. That can't be what this Jay Gruden offense is all about.
Well, no, it's not what it's all about. And who's going to any team scores 6 points? You're not going to win with 6 points. And maybe you can justify by saying you fumbled it twice inside the opponent's 10, and you also gave up a punt for a touchdown. Maybe you get 10 points out of that scenario. Even if it's 16, it's not enough. So the offense is going to have to pick it up. And the coach himself said, Doc, in hindsight, he would have run it more. And I bet you today he runs it more.
Yeah, I bet he will too. Well, for me, I'm a very black and white kind of guy. It's the good, and then there's the bad.
Well, focus in on that. Focus in on that.
There's nothing good, because when we don't win, there is nothing good.
Right.
It's about winning. We don't get points and participation. That's why they pay them a salary. It's about winning, and I think today our guys will get focused and get that done.
They haven't won a game since November 3rd. That streak and this fan base really, really needs something to cheer about.
Well, 9 games, I mean, that's just inexcusable. And it does go into last year. You do have a new head coach. Jay Gruden has nothing to do with those 8 losses.
Nope.
But as a fan base and as an organization, you say, when is this team going to win? It's a beautiful day, unfortunately, for Doc. He likes it rainy. He likes it cold.
I like hog weather. I like hog weather.
This is picture. It is a sun-spanked day here at FedEx Field.
Lou, my favorite call was Larry Michael 2012.
I can tell you, electrifying.
Electrifying.
Yeah.
I want to hear that today, okay? Which means we need to see RG3.
We're going to get beamed if we stay here. We better step aside here, guys. I'm going to get hit by a football in the head.
Listen, question for you gentlemen. How pleasantly surprised are you at the contributions of Andre Roberts? This is a guy who came in thinking he was going to be the number 2 receiver, and he's actually given this team some decent field position, which can't be overlooked. I know Brian Mitchell loves it, but what about you guys?
Well, he's a classy individual first, and he didn't complain when they brought in Deshaun Jackson. He realized what the team was doing, and he said, you know what? I want to return punts. I had a taste of that at Arizona, and it really wasn't my forte. Here, it's going to be what he hangs his hat on. And obviously, just like this young man here, Ryan Grant, as a wide receiver, the Redskins do have a lot of weapons. They've got some wide receivers. Santana Moss will be inactive again today, so expect to see Ryan Grant, number 14, and a whole lot of number 12, Andre Roberts. Now, Andre almost broke a couple last game.
Yes.
Here's Adam Hayward in front of us, special teams captain. And, man, he took it personal. He says, this is not going to be right until we block a punt to even things out.
Right. Flipping all over the place, Doc. I want to talk about that defensive line. Kedrick Golson, inactive. You have Barry Cofield not playing. I mean, they're razor thin, as we had mentioned, on that defensive line.
Yeah, but we do get a chance to get the big fella Baker at nose tackle, his natural position. Jenkins, who I think is going to have a breakout season. So the young man out of Clemson, I think, will show. And, of course, 97, we go as he goes. We finally have a guy, as I call him, a bell cow, that can't be blocked by one man, and that's something that we've lacked. We got to get a guy that demands a double team, and that's exactly what Jason Hatcher does every time he's on the field.
As we look at RG3 over there on the 40-yard line, Larry, I want to ask you about the maturation of Robert Griffin this year. I mean, we know he's not all there as far as everything that we know, the electrifying call that we heard from you back in his rookie year, but where do you think he is, looking at him every day, where do you actually think he is right now?
Well, I think he's 100%. I do think he's all the way back. I think that you have a guy whose game is evolving, so he's not going to be the same player he was 2 years ago. You hope he's a smarter ball player. You hope he's a better player at reading defenses, getting rid of the football, seeing the field. These are the things he needs to improve on. And no doubt about it, he's got the arm strength, he's got the speed. He's 100% physically. And if you watch the guy work out, you can tell he's 100%. But it's kind of like, the maturation process is happening in front of us. And if you don't like what you're seeing, then skip town, because he's your quarterback. I mean, you can talk about all you want to. He is the quarterback, and people have a short memory. He's the reason, one of the big reasons they won the NFC East 2 years ago. So, and you got a guy like Trent Williams. You got to have Trent step up. Trent, I thought he didn't have one of his best games last time out. He had a holding call. He gave up a sack. He takes that personally. He doesn't care if it's J.J. Watt or J.J. Reddick. He doesn't care. Or J.J. Walker. He doesn't care about any of those guys. He just wants to protect the quarterback.
Larry Michael is classic.
Larry's a classic, but I will say when
Walker.
Jadeveon Clowney went out, I thought Trent's intensity dipped. Now, he had shut Clowney out. But once he went out, and that happens sometimes, you work yourself up for one guy, then an undersized guy comes in and gets around you. So Trent's got to keep his mad on the whole game.
Last question for both of you all. You talk about maturation process. We're looking at it with Bakari Rambo.
I'm waiting for Doc Walker to finally grow up and mature. I mean, he's just nothing but a big kid. If you get some of the emails I get on a late Saturday night, Friday night, he's out having fun. He's playing hoops last night. He's playing pickup hoops last night. He sent me a picture of him capping this guy's shot. Great camera angle. It was outstanding. Thank you, Doc.
Well, Larry, I'm intense. And hopefully when I grow up, I'll find out what I'm going to do in life. But I just am a junkie, man. I love this. I need us to win desperately. I'm encouraged by where the program is going. I feel a little slighted that our fan base wasn't even in the top 10. I feel a little slighted, and I hope today we get it all back.
Oh, the voice.
The voice is Ralph Wesley here. We get everything here on Gametime Live presented by Verizon. Larry Michael, Doc Walker, thank you so much for coming by. The best in the business, Doc Walker and Larry Michael. Monday morning, Redskins Roundup. Be sure to catch the Monday morning Redskins Roundup presented by Verizon every Monday at 9 a.m. on redskins.com. The live web show will feature highlights, interviews, and analysis. Ask the hosts a question by using hashtag Redskins Talk on Twitter. And how great is it when I say ask the host, I'm trying to audible at the line of scrimmage. Scratch that last thing, but we can't scratch the fact that he's big, that he's sexy, and he is Chris Russell from ESPN 980, dropping in with the knowledge. First, the inactives. I know that Santana Moss is going to be inactive. We've heard that from Larry. Also know that Kedrick Golston is not going to be active as well anymore.
Yeah, I mean, Santana Moss, as we had also reported earlier this morning. Jordan Reed, of course, as expected. Akeem Jordan, Tracy Porter, Colt McCoy, third quarterback. You mentioned Golston, and Spencer Long is the seventh. This one was kind of easy because you have four guys: Reed, Golston, Akeem Jordan, and Tracy Porter, who we knew were virtually out, if not already ruled out. So this one was kind of easy.
Okay, we talk about with Larry and with Doc at the top of the show, and with Tarek about some of the people who are here and some of the people who are not here as far as the intensity that's coming on the field. I have to ask you what Doc mentioned. I think this is a great opportunity for Baker, Chris Baker, to show up in the absence of Kedrick Golston and Barry Cofield.
Well, no doubt. He's a natural nose tackle, and that's important to remember. So you're not asking him to play something he's not. The one area that I worry about is because you've now lost Chris Neal and you've lost Barry Cofield until the bye, this team does not have a natural backup at nose. So what you will see, especially in nickel packages, is Jason Hatcher, like his sack that was stripped away from Jason Hatcher by the NFL and just considered a tackle for loss and a recovered fumble last week. You will see him shaded over the nose. You will see Jarvis Jenkins, as you saw in one snap last week, shaded over the nose in nickel packages. So that's what you'll see. And basically Chris Baker in on what they call Oki, their base package.
When you look at Robert, I want to get everybody's thoughts on Robert. What are you seeing from him as far as, I mean, it's a mental thing and it's a physical thing. What are you seeing from him?
Well, I saw a better quarterback throughout the preseason and throughout game one last week in Houston, moving through his progressions. I still see a little hesitancy. I still see a quarterback that's still a tad bit unsure and afraid to trust and pull the trigger when he absolutely needs it, but I saw progress. I understand 6 points is not good enough. I understand the turnovers inside the red zone, not good enough. I understand they want to stretch the field, but I did see some signs of progress. I need to see more than some today.
You and I have been covering this team for a long time, and what we do know is that these streaks not only affect the fans, they affect us. They haven't won a football game, a regular season football game, since November 3rd. That's 9 straight. We feel it. The fans feel it. This will be a perfect time to end this mess.
Yeah, 315 days.
See, now you go days. See, now I was okay with the games. Now you're going days. I mean, are you going to do minutes for me now, too? Man, come on.
I'm not doing that.
Help a brother out.
315 days since they last won a regular season game. Clearly that has to end because, look, the bottom line is the only silver lining if they were to lose today is it would be 0-2 out of the division and out of the conference. But I say that with 0-2 in that they would have lost to two teams that were a combined 6-26 last year. You can't have it. You got to win. People pay a lot of money to come here. Win the game by any means necessary.
By any means. Now he throws in Malcolm X. That's Chris Russell of ESPN 980 joining us. Thanks so much, Chris. Appreciate that. All right. Redskins Connect is the best way to follow the game and connect with the Redskins like never before. This new app features an arcade where you can actually play along with today's game and earn points when you call the play correctly. Now available to download on iPhone, iPad, and Android. All right. You know who he is. He doesn't need any introduction anymore. He's been part of this for a long, long time. Andrew Walker of Redskins.com. And you know what we do with you. We got the game program. Oh, that's very nice, very nice. Robert Griffin III, why for the first home game of the year are we putting RG3 on there?
Well, as he's always acknowledged, as he goes, the team goes. So, it's about growth. That's what the story's about. It's about growth under a new head coach.
Sorry? Chris Baker and the owner, Dan Snyder. See Pierre Garcon, everything here on Gametime Live presented by Verizon. Continue.
Right. So, but it's about growth, and as Chris Baker dances, they're looking for major growth each week as they install the game plans. They should be doing better every week at just kind of those mundane things that you do leading up to a game. So Gruden's put his trust into Griffin, and he had a pretty good performance week one, but they only scored 6 points.
Going back to Dan Snyder as he's at the 50-yard line, obviously he's had some interview with Comcast Sportsnet recently, said some great things as far as what he wants to do with the stadium, a new stadium, how he feels about the Redskins name. Your thoughts on the interview and your thoughts on, we talk about the maturation process of the players. Your thoughts on the maturation process of this owner and how he's just, learning certain things. Admittedly, he said that, he took some lumps early on, but just your thoughts on Daniel Snyder as an owner right now.
Well, I thought it was a really compelling interview, and Chick did a good job with him, Chick Hernandez. I think the most exciting thing about that was the possibility of a new stadium. He opened up a little bit on some details, preliminary details, and that really got Redskins fans excited. Not that FedEx Field is, outdated or anything like that, or isn't a place that they can't play in, but down the road, there's plans in the works to open up someplace new, which that would get every Redskins fan excited across the nation.
What else are you hearing from the fans? I mean, I know you get a lot of the traffic from social media and whatnot. Probably nobody gets more traffic than you as far as, what the fans are feeling. What else are they saying as we see Roy Halou working up behind us?
Well, it's just frustrating.
And if Brian Arakpo is coming into view, man, look at those. Those are the kind of muscles you have.
Yeah, I've been working out. So, no, the fans are just frustrated, and rightfully so. I mean, this regular season losing streak has been going on since November
3rd.
Yeah, so they want to get that out of the way. They see an opponent in the Jaguars that the Redskins, by any means, aren't going to overlook, but they should beat at home. They should beat a Jacksonville Jaguars team at home in their home opener with the juices flowing. So they just want to get this win. They want to start anew from that Week 1 game where they had so many blunders that cost them the game.
Okay, last question before I get you out of here. Going back to Robert Griffin III, back to your cover. I know he's great with the media. I know he's great with us. I know he's great with almost every aspect, but I mean, he's just going through some mental issues as far as just trying to, almost fit in to his skin, as he grows into quarterback. Do you think this is a breakout year for him?
Oh, I think it is. I mean, I think he's fine mentally. I don't, I hear that too sometimes. He tweets a little bit too much for some people's liking. He focuses on the haters and all that. I think he's fine. He's had his lumps his first couple years. Going into this year, he had a full off season to train, no injuries. I think he's fine. I really do.
Thank you so much, Mr. Walker. Andrew Walker of Redskins.com stepping in. We had Doc Walker and Larry Michael. We had Chris Russell. And on the top of the show, we had Tariq El-Bashir all weighing in on what we're hoping is the end of a long drought of victory. Victory for the Washington Redskins. They play the Jacksonville Jaguars game. And thank you for watching Game Time Live presented by Verizon. Enjoy the game, everyone.